Aces, Angels, what up, y'all? So today we actually have a pretty cool video for y'all. We've talked about this a couple of times before, and a lot of couples may have a hard time at some points in time in the relationship, whether it's early or later on in the relationship, starting conversations with one another. So
and going deeper than the day to day. How was your day?
you're right, just the basic, that gets boring sometimes. People might, day to day say, "Oh, how's your day?" "Oh, it's fine. It was good." That's it. To dig a little bit deeper into how they really feel, what's going on in their lives, what's happened in the past, all together. So
yeah, so we're gonna answer something right now. Mm-hmm. We don't know how this is gonna go. We haven't even looked at the questions.
Right, now mind you, these are questions we don't know, and we're gonna just ask each other questions and see what happens.
What's the hardest lesson you've had to learn?
Oh boy. The hardest lesson I've had to learn is how to deal with college debt, or just debt in general, but majority of my debt is from college. So just having to work through that and budget and to be able to put things together to where it actually works. I've definitely learned that I would never want to take out that amount of debt again, regardless of whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're hesitant on buying a house because of the fact that debt lingers for a long, long time, and a debt like that can linger for a very long time. And also I learned that I do not want my kids to have any debt either. Okay, so what are you the most sentimental about? Which you're sentimental about a lot.
I know.
Tears be flowing because it's cold outside.
I think I'm the most sentimental about the timing of the passing of time. But what I mean by that is
that's very deep.
I get very emotional when I think about what I haven't done yet and time has passed. Or I get sentimental when I think about something that maybe I didn't fully embrace. Like when Nasim was born, I feel like looking back on that time, I didn't fully embrace him as a baby because I was too stuck on just emotions. So I feel like I'm very sentimental about just moments in time. Those are the things that I cherish the most. Some memories, I'm like, man, that passed too fast. And I can put myself back in that memory and know that I was not totally present. But I think that a lot of times when time passes, we're just trying to get to we're looking so far in the future that when the future comes, we think back to the past and we're like, man, if I could go back, I would have slowed down.
It would have been a better time if you could just be in the moment.
People are sentimental about their possessions, but I'm sentimental about time.
That's why she's more she would prefer an experience over an item.
If you received a salary to follow whatever passion you wanted to, what would you do?
Woo! I would travel.
Yeah.
I would be a traveler, which is crazy because this is what we want to do. Like, this is what we really want to do with this YouTube channel. We want to be with our family. We want to travel. We want to engage in a community all at the same time. I would travel and review the world, like critique restaurants and places to go and things to see and things of that nature. Just show people the world. I want to be a person who someone else can live vicariously through. Yeah, eventually I would love to get like a 3D camera, put it on my head. No, that's it.
Get a drone
or whatever, get a 3D camera. So these videos that we give to y'all can be like breathtaking. For real. That's my goal. That's what I want to get to. So.
Okay. Well, maybe that dream might come true.
Yeah. What was the most productive and least productive times of your life thus far?
So, I think in general, I'm not the most productive person. I am working on that.
I mean, I beg to differ. But anyway, go ahead.
I guess. But I think that I was most productive in my early 20s because I just did so much. Like, I started my own business. I got myself, I wrote press releases for myself. I got myself on 2 news stations. Yeah. I was a full-time nanny, part-time college student, and I was doing it all. Like, with I felt like I didn't have any guidance, but I made time to do everything.
You did. You really did.
I really did. And I wish that I could just go back to her and put a little bit of her in me again. Because I feel like sometimes I you know, I lose her a little bit. I'm talking like it's two people, but like I lose what I had then sometimes now. I like have it and then it's gone, and then I have it and then it's gone. I want to be driven and ambitious, just like that girl that was 22.
Yeah.
And least productive, I would say probably when I first stayed home. Well, that's kind of hard. I wouldn't say when I first stayed home when I seen, because I was a new mom. But I would say this second time around, I felt like I was the least productive I've ever been in my life.
What do you mean second time around?
Because when I first stayed with him, I was like working and kind of working, but I had him as a newborn, so I stayed with Nassim the first 6 months, and I really didn't work that much. This time around, I practically don't work at all. I work, but I'm mainly at home. In the beginning, not right now, but in the beginning of this new transition, I was the least productive because I didn't know where to put my time. So I was just doing stuff, but I felt like I didn't get anything done. And it was so frustrating. Yeah. But there was no set, like when I was in my 20s, I had to be a nanny and I had to be a student and I had to do my business. But those things all had a set time because they all had set times. Like I knew when I could work on my business because that's meant when I wasn't in class and I wasn't a nanny. And I knew that when I had to be a nanny, and I knew when I had to be a student. When I transitioned into becoming just a mom and a wife and running businesses, it was like, oh wait, when do I do everything? Because I could just clean up the house all day. Okay, so next is for Ahmad. What were the 3 most important turning points in your life?
Ooh. When I was born. No, I was playing. I think the first most important turning point was probably when I went to college. I think that really started to shape me as an adult. Being on my own for the first time, not having mommy and daddy around, you know what I'm saying? Like, to being a couple hours away, even though my school wasn't that far. Like, Western is only two hours away from Chicago, 2 hours away from Detroit. But for me, you know, I had loving parents. But having to be out on my own, even though, you know, you still get a care package every now and then, I think that me being on my own and having to make these decisions and get around and figure out this and that was very important. I would say going back even before that, before I went to college, I think my first job was a huge turning point. I worked at Burlington Coat Factory for years, about altogether like 5 or 6 years. My first time working at Burlington Coat Factory when I was 16 years old, I actually told the hiring manager that I could only work after work from like 4 to 9, only on Tuesdays and Thursdays, something like that. It was something crazy.
Like he was the boss.
I was like, man. She was like, wait, hold on 1 second. I was like, because I was playing basketball at the time, and I'm like, you know what? I got to practice this day. You know what I'm saying? I got to be here that time. So I was like, all right, well, I have a very limited schedule. And they were like, well, look, come back to us when you're ready to work full time. So my dad actually had to take me back to the job. Like, look, he don't know what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because we had to talk. And I told him, like, look, I really want to work. I really want to make money. He asked me, like, what I really want to do. I told him I really want to make money. We went back and talked to the boss and told her, you know, this is the first time I'm really ever doing this. And they hired me at that time. And I just focused on making money instead of playing ball. So, you know, now playing ball is recreational for me. But, yeah.
And number 3.
And number 3 is, that's a tough one. I'm going to say, and I would say it's between when we got married or when we had Nassim. I'm going to have to say when we had Nassim because us getting married is like, okay, that's just us. But now it's legal. You know what I'm saying?
It's a heightened dating experience.
Right, basically. We have been dating for 5 years before we got married. So anyway, which I love you.
I love you too, but I would have picked that one too.
Having Nassim,
that was a whole experience we could have never predicted.
Could never predict it, and we will never forget. It just brought so many emotions. And like even to this day, man, I might shed a tear thinking about those first days that he was born. So it's crazy. It will stick with me forever. Very last question. What small, seemingly insignificant thing did your parents or someone else say when you were a child that stuck with you all this time?
Like, honestly, what comes to mind to me, which is actually negative. No, people said positive things to me. But what sticks out to me is like being bullied. Like, honestly.
Yeah, I guess it don't have to be a thing that somebody said. It could be a thing that somebody did.
So, my 5th grade teacher, I loved her. Like, she was the best teacher ever. And she would always come and ride down our street when she went home. That's where all the teachers rode down. They always rode down our street. And she made a point to, like, stop by every once in a while as the years went on. And I would go visit her and she would come visit me. Well, when I got to high school, in English class, we had to write a letter to a teacher in the past that had made an impact on our life. So I wrote a letter to her. She got that letter. When I graduated from high school, she had her brother-in-law, who was, I think, on like the school board or something.
Board of Education?
He was for something. Okay. I think he was like on the school board. Mm-hmm. But she had him come up to me. And he's like, oh, are you Jessica? And so I'm like, yeah. And so he tells me how she really enjoyed that I wrote her that letter. And he was kind of like the spokesperson for her. It's as if he was her in that moment.
Right.
And so he told me how she felt about the letter. And he told me that she told him to find me at graduation. Mm-hmm. We were not even in the same district.
Oh boy.
This is a total like
so
15 minutes like 15 minutes away district.
Oh yeah, because you switched. Okay.
But he happened to work in this district. So she told him. And she had him switch. Everybody got their diploma from like the principal or something.
Right, usually it's the principal.
But he specifically, when I didn't even notice until I got to him, but he went on stage and just for me, he switched places with the principal to give me my diploma. And at that moment, it was like the diploma was coming from her because he was like her representative.
Yeah.
I will never forget that.
That's
and
dope.
I have not seen her
dope,
since.
Yeah, you need to find that teacher's name out.
Yeah, I need to find her. I'm going to send her the video.
Yeah.
But like, that was so special to me. Like, my favorite teacher. Yeah. My favorite teacher did that. Like, that's what teachers are supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like, impact your life so much that you never forget them.
You want cracker?
I don't want to crack. He's taking snack breaks. That was a good video, y'all.
That was a very good video, man. I like the concept behind that, too.
Yeah. This was like on the spot. We didn't know it. I would totally answer more questions. Mm-hmm. If y'all want to see another video like this one, let us know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, dare to be different because what makes you different makes you beautiful. We will see y'all in the next video. Bye. Like this video, comment, and subscribe. Okay.